Hi, this is Jeff White with Life and Living Now and Versatile Fighting Arts. And I was writing a short piece on Qigong and the third eye at the request of a student. And I thought I would just go ahead and make the video and I posted the writing. I do a lot of this on Facebook and the website, etc. But just want to talk about it for just a little bit as something that I find fascinating. And the third eye, right in the center of the forehead, we'll find it listed, in chakras. We have the crown, third eye, then you have throat, heart, solar plex, sacral, and root. So it comes up in the meditative traditions as well as Qigong traditions and other things as well. So both Qigong and, as I mentioned, many meditative disciplines and practices have at their core an aim to enhance focused attention, body awareness, and subtle energetic sensitivity and use. So the concept of the third eye is both symbolic as well as a physiological plexus that's related to the pineal gland. And by placing attention and using our breath, we enhance our clarity of internal vision, insight, as well as we develop our awareness of this important area and its associated processes. For our purpose in this writing, then we're going to say Qigong is a group or a family of very old ancient Chinese practices involving mindfulness, intention, and breath. Meditation, for our purpose here, is focused attention on one point, and also, as I used, focused interoception attention as we watch our thoughts and mental processes. In other words, one, we're doing insight meditation as well as one pointed meditation. And those are the two primary types of meditation that I utilize. Um, the third eye is a multi layered concept. Um, it's mentioned in several internal meditative traditions. As I mentioned, in terms of chakras, then it's considered the seat of inner vision, um, insight, wisdom. It is often related, as I mentioned, to pineal gland and the midline brain networks that involve imagery and attention. It is described then as the center of intuition and non-ordinary perception, which is an intriguing thought. And so as we focus on these areas, we become more aware, same as we do with any of our the Qigong practices. I've written about and mentioned before, when we place our attention on lower dantian, we are becoming more aware of the energy and the processes that's being utilized by way of the vagus nerve. As it goes into the gut is considered the second brain. It sends a lot of signals back to the brain and is very actually has a great deal of autonomy as well. When I wrote about, or I will be writing about the lumbar area, the Ming Men, and how that's a plexus as well of processes, nerves, etc. And so it helps to explain what the old practitioners were sensing and experiencing but did not always have the words for. Now we have some Western science correlates that kind of send us in that right direction and give us an idea about what's going on a physical level. And I still hold that there is more to explain and to understand on the energetic level. So activation of this third eye is a progressive alignment of three, I would think, three very important aspects. Stabilized focus attention, okay, the one pointed mindfulness, regulated autonomic states, in other words, a healthy, balanced nervous system, and refined interoception, which is the looking inward and feeling inward. So, practices that regularly engage then in these three aspects will produce measurable neural hormonal changes. Those changes will be in the thalamic, ultrathalamic prefrontal activity, um, as well as increased melatonin from the pineal gland. And over time, with sustained practice, then we begin to increase their ability and and our ability to be aware, to engage, and to enhance the clarity of mind, the calming emotions, vivid imagery, and more confidence and intuition centered decisions. So that's huge. So let me repeat that. Over time, With sustained, consistent practice, you begin to increase your ability to enhance your clarity of mind, the calming of emotions, the vivid imagery, more confident in your intuition centered decisions because you have greater confidence in the clarity of mind and your inner vision, your intuition, your wisdom as you begin to see things. You just seem to have an understanding um, that is greater than what you got from book learning. Now, there's also some minor research that focused attention on the third eye can aid in release of a natural psychedelic drug in our system called DMT, and I will not try and butcher that. But the research is not very robust, but it is intriguing. So we engage in the development of these areas when we practice Qigong and when we focus on the third eye in our flows, our focus, and our attention. In meditation, we often sit with our focus on the third eye and our breath as if it were coming in and out of that area. Okay. We also engage in the third eye in our microcosmic orbit meditation that we incorporated into our qigong, or can be used as a separate practice. And additionally, we keep our focus in the third eye as we go through our day, so that we'll cultivate both the interoception as well as sensitivity. So that's just an idea. So changes in these areas, given the converging evidence, produces changes in prefrontal, thalamic, and insular brain networks, improved attentional control, and endocrine modulation, which involving melatonin in the pineal gland. Developing the third eye is primarily a training of attention, body mind regulation, and sensory refinement. It's achieved through consistent Qigong, breath, and meditative practices. It takes consistency. What you begin to feel and sense seems very subtle at first, and if you allow it, it'll continue to grow. And its reports, that's reported effects, kind of align with the known neuropsychological changes rather than say a single mystical organ switch. So the more that we focus on this, the our breath and our meditation, our awareness, then the more we'll see attention changing, body mind regulation being enhanced, sensory refinement. And so there's not just one little mystical thing where the third eye opens, although that is a thing, but it's also explained by these other hormonal changes and neural changes that are happening because of our focused attention. I still don't discount the fact that there is more to this than what Western science will lead us to. Often is, but I do like the Western science correlates, give us an idea of what else is going on. Okay, but here's the real thing. All of this is great. The real test is what you may experience. So try it in your Qigong, try it in your meditation, just a simple enhanced attention of focus in this area. Now you need to combine that with an honest regard for intention and breath. In other words, try it. I kind of view myself as a healthy cynic, and when I'm going through new things, I will suspend, willingly suspend my disbelief. It's my questioning. But I will give into it for a 30, 60, 90-day period, and I will go for it as if it were true. Then I begin to see what's happening. Do I begin to sense, are there changes? Sometimes I've gone through these practices and I did not feel a thing, so I simply put it on a shelf. I don't discard. It's very little that I truly, truly discard. I may put it on a shelf and say, it doesn't fit the parameters of my understanding at this moment in my experience, or maybe I just don't understand it enough, or I don't know how to do it yet. So I just put it away. I work with what I know. All right. I'm still constantly, always wanting to learn more and apply more, but I do stick with what I know because I also understand a lot, especially in the Qigong traditions. There's a lot that's been passed on with very flowery language and very illustrative vernacular because a lot of it wasn't in writing for a long time and they had to describe their experiences and they did not have the knowledge that we have now. And all that is fine. We all do the best we can where we are, but then let's build. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Let's continue that. So use your time as a lab. Test this out for yourself. You may find your intuition has increased, that you've developed a stronger sixth sense and other abilities. I know that I have when I am regularly practicing this. Now, enjoy these enhanced abilities, but don't get caught up in them. Don't get attached. That's always a warning that goes with it. Don't get attached to it because it just sends you down this ego trail. Okay? Use your abilities to serve others, not as a badge of progress. So, in that case, I view this as one aspect seeks to serve, the other one just feeds the ego. All right. It's good to be confident in what you're doing, but know your skills and know that these abilities are there for you to help others. So I hope you enjoy. I love to hear your feedback. Thank you very much. Have a great day.